We are live. My name is Shane Lukas, owner and creative strategist for A Great Idea. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I am passionate about great brand storytelling. Thank you for joining me for this short burst of tips and talk today. I'll keep it short and sweet. If you have questions, please keep them in the comments here, and I will get to them, or you can contact me directly, or I'll even take carrier pigeon if you'd prefer. I do want to extend an extra thank you out there to those essential workers during the COVID-19 crisis, as well as the health and care professionals giving blood and bone to fight the pandemic. Our hearts and thoughts stay with you. Also, if a quick shout out to please support those service organizations that continue to bring needed services and access to communities disproportionately impacted by COVID-19, as well as addressing ongoing inequities in our cities and states. Now, on to the talk. Today, we're going to go dark, at least for a minute. What do I mean by that? I don't mean turning the lights out or even nefarious dark web. Let's talk for a few minutes about the impact of dark social on your brand. What does dark social mean? Well, dark social refers to the communications channels that are most private by users. Those would include your privately exchanged emails or a conversation on the chat app WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook Messenger. They're called dark because they aren't tracked the way other data on a site might be. For example, accessing a web page shares a lot of information with you, the world, and the Googles that be. But when you talk with a friend about a favorite flick or which ice cream to get, well, that information is mostly, and this is important, between you and whom you're talking to. Recent research shows that when consumers have something to share, they're more likely to head to those dark social channels to do so, around 63%, rather than open social media platforms, around 54%. What's even more revealing is that around 20% of users share only via dark social channels. One study even showed that 84% of consumer sharing actually happens during these dark social conversations. And we all know that sharing is caring. So, what are we sharing? Personal photos, the majority. 70+% of users share those. And not far behind are memes or popular videos that we think are funny or moving. 50% of users are sharing links, so that's important. Also, around 50% of users, discounts and links to other social media posts and channels. Dark social is just the acknowledgement that your social media messages and emails are actually working in ways that standard analytics can't and arguably shouldn't detail. Now, how can you find out how dark social is impacting your site or sites? One of the best tools I've found is Get Social's Dark Social Calculator. It connects into your analytics platform and does a relatively reasonable job parsing that data to sort out traffic that might be coming from dark social interactions. But remember, it's really just a guess. The thing about this data is that its informality is both a benefit and a challenge. One thing you can do to identify this type of traffic is to start applying urchin tracking modules, or UTM for short. UTMs append info to a link to say what that source is. This really only works on channels you control, and for most of dark social, again, you just can't. So how can your brand make an impact? First, don't expect to sell here. These are private spaces, and when audiences want to be sold to, they will head to a marketplace. Research shows that interrupting vulnerable time with sales speak has an adverse reaction on engagement. We all get a bit anxious when our ads start to reflect conversations we thought we had offline or in private, right? Second, make it easy on the user. Links are often shared in these dark social channels, so think about link shorteners like Bitly. They make the copy and paste process simpler and those sources easier to track. Third, have a story to tell. People want things to talk about. So giving them content, whether in the forms of assets like images or infographics, encourages user engagement with your story. Giving those users content gives them the conversations to have in those dark social spaces. And that builds trust and an audience. So in short, don't be afraid of the dark. Recognize the space and build your brand to support users feeling secure to engage socially while building brand advocacy. Well, that's our time. Thank you for joining. If you have questions, please feel free to leave them below or reach out to me directly. Again, I'm Shane Lukas of A Great Idea. You can continue to follow these conversations and tune in for future Live for Fives by following us through our different social channels. We're on all of them at A Great Idea Co. Or you can also find us online at our site at agreatidea.co. So until then, we look forward to hearing from you and getting your feedback. We would love you to get out there and get creative.